So the goal in fast foiling is just to recognize that when you're foiling, as long as the coefficients are 1, the middle term is going to be the sum of these two numbers, and the last term is going to be their product. So for example, -4 plus 2 is -2, but -4 times 2 is -8. Or down here, let's say -5 plus 1 is -4, and -5 times 1 is -5. Again, that's only going to work as long as these coefficients are 1. So now that we've seen how the fast foiling works, we're going to do that to unfoil. So for example, on number 16, I know that my binomials are going to open with x and x. And what I'm looking for is the order matters here. I want two numbers that are going to first multiply to get 40 and then add to get 13. And so you want to start with what are numbers that multiply to get 40. So for example, 10 and 4, but those would add to 14. 2 and 20, those would add to 22. Or I could use 8 and 5. And so my unfoiling product, my factored product, is going to be x plus 8 times x plus 5. Here I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to get positive 54, but add to get negative 15. So because they're adding to a negative, I need them both to be negative, especially since they're both being multiplied to get a positive. And so in this case, it's going to be 9 and 6, because 9 times 6 is 54, and 9 plus 6 is 15, and negative times negative is positive, and negative plus negative is negative. Next one is two numbers that multiply to get -6, but add to -1, and so that would be -3 and +2. So -3 times +2 is -6, -3 plus 2 is going to be -1. So for right now, the key is that a needs to be 1 in our quadratic. So this coefficient of x squared always needs to be 1. Tomorrow we're going to figure out how to do this when a is not 1. And so the form that we're looking at is x squared plus bx plus c is going to factor into x plus p times x plus q. So we're looking for these two missing numbers, p and q, where p and q, p times q, have a product of c. So we want to start by first looking at numbers that multiply to get c. And then at the same time, p plus q, their sum, needs to be add to b. And so the hint is to list the product possibilities first. Always look at that. So for example, here I've got my c value is 18, and so I would start by listing factors of 18. So 18 and 1, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. And then I want to narrow those down by looking at what they add to. And so in this case, I would choose 2 and 9 because those are the two factors that add to 11. And so that means my factored form would be x plus 2 times x plus 9. And if I FOIL that out, it's going to get me my x squared plus 11x plus 18, because I'd get x squared plus 9x plus 2x, which would be 11x, and then plus 18. So you can always check your work by foiling. Let's take a quick look at example 6. So on example 6, I want to find factors of -20. And so I'm going to start by listing. I'll actually just start with 20. So 20 and 1, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. And then I want to find a combination that can add to +1. And so the only combination that I could even possibly get to combine to 1 would be my 4 and 5. And I can do that if my 5 is my positive and my 4 is my negative. And so that means that I'm going to have my factored form be x minus 4 times x plus 5. Because -4 times 5 would be -20, but -4 plus 5 would be +1. Let's look at one more possibility together. Let's look at example 7. So in example 7, I'm trying to find the factors of +8, whose sum is -6. So in this case, I would start with the factors of 8. So 8 I can get by multiplying 8 and 1, or 2 and 4. And so of those combinations, the two that I can make to get negative 6 are going to be negative 2 and negative 4, which makes sense because negative 2 and negative 4 are going to multiply to positive 8, but they'll add to negative 6. So that means that my factors are going to be n minus 2 and n minus 4. And if I FOIL that out, it will check out as the trinomial n squared minus 6n plus 8. So go ahead and pause the video to try the remaining examples that haven't been done yet. Press play when you're ready to check your answers. So on example 2, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to get 2 but add to 3. They're 2 and 1, so x plus 2 times x plus 1. On example 3, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to get 10 but add to 7, so 5 and 2. X plus 5 times x plus 2. Remember, these can be in different orders, so it could be x plus 2 times x plus 5, and that would be totally fine. Here I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to get 14 but add to 9, 7 and 2. Two numbers that multiply to get 12 but add to 8, 6 and 2. Then I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to get positive 3 but add to negative 4, so that would be negative 3 and negative 1, x minus 3 and x minus 1. Two numbers that multiply to 6 but add to negative 5, negative 3 and negative 2. Two numbers that multiply to get negative 15 but add to positive 2. So I've got positive 5 and negative 3. Be careful with your signs here because 5 plus negative 3 is positive 2. And then two numbers that multiply to get negative 16 but add to positive 6, positive 8 and negative 2. And then in my last two examples, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to get negative 10 but add to positive 3, so that would be positive 5 and negative 2. And then two numbers that multiply to get 30 but add to 11, so that would be 6 and 5.